Hey traders, Cody from Samurai Trading Academy here, and as promised, just wanted to do a quick update here on the week that was and take a look at some results and also look at some of the charts as well quickly. So as you can see here, it was a really good trading week in the Emini S&P 500 ES futures, 17 points made on 14 trades. Pretty good win ratio as you can see, and also a strong reward to risk, which is a really important thing to me, making sure that winners are usually at least twice as big as average losses. And you also see that most of the profit came from a single day, and that's not uncommon. It's often 1 or 2 days during a week that offer the majority of kind of the profit potential for a week, which is a big part of the reason why I don't really like to just stop if I make 2 or 3 points on a day. If the market's moving well and there's good opportunities, I like to kind of keep going and take what's available in because you can often make a very nice profit in a pretty short window of time. So things started off for me on Tuesday because I took Monday off. I almost always do, just kind of take a long weekend pretty much every weekend. But not bad trading on Tuesday. Could have maximized a little bit more. Had some opportunities early I missed because I was doing some of the live training stuff that I do with some of the students I work with. Missed an opportunity a little bit earlier. Caught a bit of this trending move, and then was maybe a bit overly cautious because of certain kind of risk factors, lower momentum conditions in the market. Probably could have done a bit better in here. But then once we started to consolidate a little bit and range a little bit, there was a couple more opportunities to trade in here. Probably could have caught another long in here as well, but was really just being cautious, trading off the levels that were forming, and limited momentum to the upside once we tested again. So felt pretty comfortable fading off of that and tried to last breakout long. But sometimes when you've already run a pretty long ways, and this was one that actually had a little bit of a trending action before we got up into this area, so potential for a little bit of exhaustion in the market and a bit of a false break move here, especially with the way that it consolidated after it broke. So I was only willing to take that with very low risk, and if it didn't follow through, no real harm done. Was willing to risk those couple ticks there. But very solid day for just basically a couple or a few hours of trading on this particular day. On Wednesday, this was definitely the good one. Easy to just kind of go long in here. We had seen a trending day from the day before, and we were testing up into some of those highs, and so saw the possibility of a bit of continuation of the day and maybe getting another little bit of follow through on that trend. So opportunity here, if you're willing to be a bit patient with it, to kind of wait things out, and that's what I did. And I just trailed behind these consolidations, so just trailing behind here, trailing behind here, trailing behind here until I hit my 5-point target. And 5 points is usually kind of the max that I aim for. I'm pretty happy with that. Sometimes the market can obviously carry further, but usually have that as kind of a little bit of a set in stone target and try not to be too greedy. And I'm very happy when I get at 5 points, because I'm really only risking usually 4 to 5 ticks on a trade. So 1 to 1.25 points and making 5. So it's a pretty good reward to risk on that. And things failed to fall through to the upside, so I just started to switch in the opposite direction as things started to basically maybe a bit of profit taking and just lack of momentum. So just kind of coming back down and looking for an area where we might find buyers again, which that breakout point would be a pretty likely one, and that's what we saw as we tested back down into it. We saw some buying come off of that, so a high risk location to be trying any further shorts, but basically just kept taking things down. There were a couple longs in here as well, looking for a little bit of continuation, which made a bit of profit, but did have a failure there that was pretty quick and difficult to manage. So took a full loss on that one, but overall some very nice wins in there. So done trading on this one here after a couple hours. On Thursday here, a little bit more range bound, as is quite clear. Not a lot of profit to be had in here, as being pretty selective, pretty careful in terms of some of the opportunities. Would have been a pretty good day had I managed to be able to get a fill in here. Was using some limit orders, trying to make sure I know my price, and I like to use limit orders for that reason, because then I know I can define my entry and define my exit very well, and make my trading very structured, very rule based, as opposed to if you're using market orders and you can kind of get in that habit of chasing price or exiting because you kind of get a little panicked, you hit the button. So I like to have things a bit more defined, remove a little bit of the emotional element, but sometimes it does mean I can get a no fill, and I could have kind of aggressively entered that, but Sometimes, you miss out on an opportunity, and it's not too big a deal. There's always, more good opportunities, more good trades to come. If you don't necessarily need to catch every single move, every single leg, every single trend to be very profitable. So, some good trades in there, like I said. And then Friday, didn't trade. I sat down to trade, hoping that there'd be something in here. This was a day that we saw very limited volume in the pre-market, so no real surprise to not see a whole lot going on once things opened up. But was still kind of hopeful and wanted to see how things would play out. But with the long weekend in the U.S. as well, a lot of traders probably away from their desks, already taking some time off and getting ready to do some travel and stuff like that. So it's not unusual for the day before the long weekend for things to really tighten up and the volumes to be quite limited. So I gave it a little bit of time, a little bit of a chance, and never found anything that was all that clear in terms of momentum, in terms of structural breaks, getting the market kind of turning over and making moves that were likely to have continuation. So nothing fit my rules, my plan, and so I didn't trade. And I'm perfectly fine with that as well. If you get in that habit of trying to force things, trying to kind of impose your will on the market and make trades happen when they're not there, where you're going to run into trouble. But if you're willing to just be patient and disciplined, kind of sit on your hands until you have opportunities that fit your plan, opportunities that you have an edge on, if you're willing to do that, then you can be a lot more profitable, a lot more consistent. Because for a lot of kind of novice traders, even intermediate traders looking for that real high level of consistent profitability, it's kind of days like this where they run into trouble. It's the days where price isn't moving as well, or maybe it's a bit more range bound, and they overtrade those conditions. Price movement is more limited, and yet they get more aggressive. Whereas what you really want to do is, as price is moving more aggressively and the setups are, and the swings are becoming stronger, you trade a bit more aggressive in response. So then you're kind of in line with the market and in line with the way the market is moving. But a lot of newer traders, they do the opposite of that. When the markets are moving well, they get a little bit scared. They think trends are going to come to an end, and they really undertrade those conditions. So it's important to stay in line with the market, and if you can get in the flow of that, it's essentially just getting into the zone, getting in tune with the market. If you go with the flow of the market and let the market kind of dictate at least a little bit of what you're going to do and what your response should be, then you can do much better overall in terms of profitability and consistency. So hopefully you guys had a good weekend there. I'll see how things are after the long weekend here, because there'll be no trading on Monday. So hopefully there'll be a pretty good week, even though it's a little bit shorter for next week. And I'll keep up some of these, recaps and the weekly summary as well, because you guys seem to be giving me some really positive feedback on it. So I appreciate that, and have a great one. Talk to you soon.